So it's really easy to complicate an e-commerce business, to add complexity, to get wrapped up in the details. But the truth is that successful e-commerce businesses adhere to and optimize for a very simple formula. And what is that formula, you ask? Well, we break it all down in this quick and to the point video, so let's go. What is up, guys? If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. And if this is your first stop here, this channel is Heist, where we break down how to build, grow, scale, and maybe even exit e-commerce and Amazon FBA businesses. And the topic today is really to distill e-commerce success and scale down to first principles. And what first principles are is ultimately those core things that matter, the fundamental variables and ingredients to answer a complex problem. And to do this for an e-commerce business, and really any business for that matter, it's really easy to get wrapped up in the details. There's so many things going on. You got to come up with a customer that you want to service. You got to come up with a brand to service that customer. You got to develop products and offers that are compelling that people want to buy. You got to find the right factories. You got to manufacture. You got to figure out lead times, supply chain, logistics, shipping. And that's just your table stakes. You've then got to figure out how to actually monetize, market, scale, and grow that brand and have the systems all work together. So things get really complicated quickly. But in this video, we're going to break down 3 very simple variables that if you focus on them and you multiply them together, you'll find yourself with a wildly successful and scalable e-commerce business. So without further ado, let's get into number 1, which is traffic. It goes without saying, just like a brick and mortar business, you got to have people coming through the door. In the e-commerce landscape, you've got to have people coming to your site or to your product page if you're existing on a marketplace like Amazon. You've got to take millions and millions of disparate eyeballs that exist clicking around the internet. You've got to grab their attention, draw them into your actual offering so they at least look at it and you're bringing people to your actual product. And a framework to really think about here is he who drives the most traffic ultimately wins in the e-commerce game. Said another way, if you've got this army of traffic sources, if you've got an audience, if you've got a list, if you've got people from various channels online that you can draw to your product and you can do that cheaper and in more volume than your competition, you're going to sell more, you're going to get more reviews, you're going to get more word of mouth, your audience is going to grow, and then you get this flywheel of perpetual audience and traffic that ultimately drives success to your products now and in the future. And it's not only the volume of traffic that matters with this variable, the formula, it's also the type of traffic. So those that can not only drive the volume of traffic, but also high intention traffic, people seeking out what you are solving for and what you're providing, because you're going to have higher conversion when that happens. When you're drawing in an audience of customers that have a high alignment to your brand, your messaging, and the kind of offer that you're presenting, again, that traffic's going to be much more valuable. And then you also want to have traffic at the right moment in time. In terms of a funnel, you've got people that are just discovering stuff, and you've got people all the way down to the bottom of the funnel that actually have high intent and want to convert. So finding them in the right moment in time with the type of content, offer, and product that you've got matters a lot in terms of monetizing that traffic. And then finally, related to traffic, the more defensible that traffic is, the bigger moat you can create with traffic, the more of an advantage that you're going to have. So an email list that you own that Facebook algorithms can't change. Followers that you've built up yourself, engaged audience that you've created and cultivated, that over time is incredibly difficult to supplant, even if you've got other competition and offers to enter the marketplace. So part 1 of the formula, traffic. And the more you can bring in, the more relevant that traffic is, the more success you're going to find. The second thing you've got to do with that traffic is to actually convert it. And so multiplying that traffic into ultimate sales and revenue that you can use to monetize, buy more products, scale, and build and grow your business. Now, the tricky thing about e-commerce and conversion specifically is that it's not tactile, right? You're not in a physical store environment. It's augmented reality. It's 2-dimensional. So your ability to convert sales to physical products online has some different dynamics that you've got to be aware of and optimize for in this part of the equation. The elements of conversion that come online is first visual differentiation. Because it's 2-dimensional, it's not tactile, it's not visceral like a physical environment. You've got to be able to relay your value proposition, what makes your product special, very quickly in milliseconds. And you've got to do that visually with the images that you represent with your product. You've got to have simple value propositions that you can distill very, very quickly. You've got to be able to emotionally engage and break through to your customers, both with your brand, the photography, the voice and story that you tell with your products. And the better you do that, the higher you convert. You've got to be able to build trust really quickly. And this can come in the form primarily with reviews online, but it's also things like the source of your traffic. How informed were they about your product and offering, and who were they told to, or where were they driven from to your offering can really matter a lot with how quickly they convert. And then finally, everything you represent with your product on a product page needs to connect with a customer archetype that you're either solving a problem for or that you're empowering with your product or something that they care about. So traffic's super important, and the more high relevant, bigger traffic, the better. But when you multiply that by a higher conversion rate, that's ultimately going to lead to more success. And then the final and third part of this equation that not a lot of people talk about or think about is the actual net contribution margin after all of your expenses, including advertising, that you can actually pull out of a sale or a transaction for your product. So it's the traffic that comes through multiplied by however much you can convert. And then ultimately it's those actual converted sales multiplied by the dollar amount per unit left over that's ultimately going to dictate the monetary success and scalability of your brand. And so to understand this net contribution margin, it's fundamentally important to realize that e-commerce and physical products are a working capital game. And there's two financial truths that come out of this. One is that he who can pay the most to acquire a customer in the long term is gonna win. If I can spend $40 more than you to convert and build up a long-term value of a customer, I'm gonna beat you over the long term. So those products and brands that have the highest lifetime value and the highest net contribution margins have a war chest that enables them to compete, scale beyond what else is in the marketplace. And then the second financial truth is that he who has the best cash conversion cycle, or ultimately optimized working capital, wins. If I can reduce the time from $1 out to $1 in coming in much more than a competitor, I can buy more product, I can launch more product, I can spend more on marketing, I can hire more people, I can accelerate the flywheel of success such that the cash and scalability of my business is insurmountable versus people that don't have optimized working capital. And the closer to negative working capital that you can get, the more successful and the higher the probability it is that you're going to be able to scale. And what I mean by negative working capital is that let's say that I've got terms with my supplier of 60 days and I can actually sell the product and bring money in less than 60 days. That means that I'm basically playing with the house's money and I'm playing with other people's money. I'm not having to outlay cash before I get cash in. So the closer I can get to that and the shorter those cycles are, the faster I'm going to be able to grow and scale. So with this golden formula of e-com, we want to really build this orchestra of high intent traffic that we control and that we can weaponize. We then want to take that in with a deep understanding of our customer archetype, and with visual differentiation and brand, convert that traffic higher than the competition. And ultimately, when you're selling at a premium and you've got optimized working capital cash structures, you can then convert those sales into cash quicker and scale your business faster. So simple stuff, distilling complex concepts, but if you get those three things right in an e-commerce business, you're gonna kill it. Hope this was valuable, guys. Be sure to check in next week. And if you can't wait 1 week for a new video to drop, check out this video that the YouTube algorithm thinks that you will like. Until next time, cheers, guys.